I was at the festival. I was there with a number of other Israeli kids, and from the group that I was with, I was the only American. When the rockets first started coming at around 6:30, one of the other girls that we were with came to me just to explain to me what's happening. She had said there have been some rockets that were sent our way. They have been intercepted. Everything should be fine. It's kind of normal for the area that we're in. It'll probably just be a few and then it'll pass and we'll continue with this beautiful festival, with our dancing, with our music. If anyone can imagine anywhere else in the world that kids were at a music festival and suddenly rockets are being intercepted over their head, no other children would react the way these kids reacted. No other children would react in such a calm manner. Any other kids anywhere else in the world would have ran right away. But what people need to understand is that for Israeli kids, this is their reality. This is something that they've grown up with. This is something they've seen numerous times. They've been in bomb shelters more times than they can probably count. So in the beginning, nobody understood the severity of what was about to happen. Nobody could have predicted what was about to happen because seeing rockets is something pretty normal for them. After a few minutes, we kept waiting to see if the rockets would stop, and it was just one after the other. Boom, boom, boom. They kept coming. After a few minutes, the festival security had shut off the music and requested that everybody pick up their things and evacuate to their cars. We evacuated to our cars, and at this point, we still don't completely understand the severity of the situation. Yes, we see that rockets are still coming, but in our heads, we think to ourselves, okay, we have the Iron Dome, we're at our cars, we'll drive out of here, there's going to be traffic, it will take some time, but for the most part, we felt fairly safe. I had asked my friends that I had came with to the festival if they thought I had enough time to go to the bathroom quickly. And they said, yes, go to the bathroom. We're going to have a long drive. You might as well go now. A couple of days ago, I saw a video that had surfaced of the Hamas terrorists coming to those exact bathrooms moments after I was there and just shooting at every stall and just trying to kill anybody who might be hiding inside. And to see that, it hit very hard for me, knowing that I was there just a few moments before and that I could have been there when they had arrived. I went back to the car after going to the bathroom, and we started driving in the direction that the festival security told us to drive in. I want to mention the fact that the festival security really did their best to guide everyone to safety, and most of them did die trying to protect us. We drove in one direction, and eventually they asked us to turn around and drive in another direction. At this point, this was one of the points where we start to get a little bit more nervous, where we feel like we don't understand everything that's happening. We turn around and start driving the other direction, and eventually the festival security asks everyone to pull over to the side of the dirt road and get out of their cars and start running. Another thing I want to mention is that this festival took place in a big field, and most of this field you couldn't drive down. So just imagine thousands of kids trying to drive down one dirt road, trying to get out. When they asked us to pull over our cars, I couldn't understand why they would ask us to do that. In my mind, it was just rockets. Driving out was the fastest way to get to safety. But we listened to them. We pulled over our car to the side of the road. We're sitting in the car for a moment, and that's when we hear the first gunshots, and that's when we realize that it's not just rockets, that the terrorists are here on foot, that they're a few feet away, and that they have guns and that they're shooting at us. We opened our doors and we just started to run for our lives. One of the most terrifying moments was after a while, of running in one specific direction, I suddenly see dozens of other children running in my direction. And I realize that the direction I'm running in is not the direction of safety, and that they're running from a terrorist and that they're being shot at. Nobody knew what direction was safe. Basically, no direction was safe. They were coming at us from multiple directions. And suddenly, when you see these kids running towards you, you realize you have to change directions and you don't know what decision is going to be the right decision. Every decision we made either saved our lives or got us killed. And we had no way of knowing what decision would save our lives. At a certain point, after running for a while, we passed by a ditch, and there were a number of kids hiding in this ditch, and they told us to come hide with them, to hide from the terrorists. And we almost did, until one of my friends said, no, if we hide in this ditch and they surround us from above and they find us, that's it, we're done for. We have nowhere to run. We decided to keep running, and we later found out that the kids that did stay back and hid in the ditch had been murdered. We continued running for about 4 hours. Somewhere in the middle of that, we did come across a police officer. There wasn't much he could do to protect us. All he had was a handgun. He couldn't even call for backup because the terrorists had taken over the local police station and had taken over their radio station, and you could hear the terrorists yelling on his walkie-talkie. But he walked along our side. He did his best to guide us in the right direction, which was to the town of Patish, which was the nearest town to seek refuge and safety. After about 4 hours of running from gunshots, and you couldn't even tell what direction the gunshots were coming from. You couldn't tell where you should run to, but you just ran. We decided to sit under a tree to catch our breath. We hadn't heard gunshots in maybe a minute or two, and we thought it was a good moment to catch our breath. At this point, a white pickup truck starts coming in our direction, and our first reaction was thinking that it's a terrorist coming to shoot us. And we thought to get up and we thought to run, and we all just kind of looked at each other and sat back down because we realized we have nowhere to run to. Once the car got closer, we saw that there was a girl in the car who was wearing the festival bracelet, and we realized this was a man from the town of Patish who had come in the direction of the terrorists, who had left his town and risked his own life to come save innocent kids. We all got in the back of his car. I never even got this man's name. I never even got to thank him, because as soon as he dropped us off in the town of Patish, he drove back and risked his life all over again to save more kids. Once we got to the town, we started to hear more information of what was happening outside, what was happening at the kibbutz, what the terrorists were doing. The people of the town of Patish were so incredible. The way they came together to take care of us, to bring us to the bomb shelter. There were people walking around with lists of names of kids whose families haven't been able to get in touch with them all this time, and were worried that they were either kidnapped or killed already. And they walked around reading off the list of names, hoping that one of these kids was in the town and safe. Just the way I've seen the country come together, and the way I've seen people come together and protect each other and help each other, has been so incredible to see. And as someone who made it out alive, a lot of people have asked me how I've been feeling, if I've cried. I don't cry for myself. I made it out, but I cry for all those who were right next to me, dancing next to me all night, who had a much different fate than mine, who have been kidnapped, who have been killed. We were all there to just enjoy in peace and have fun and dance to beautiful music, and this is what happened to them.